Welcome back to the channel, guys, and I hope you're having an awesome day. We're doing more regular show content today, as we're going to be looking at some of the episodes in the series that are regular. Because for a show that is called regular show, it's actually kind of surprising and ironic the word regular doesn't apply to most episodes that we see. However, in my quest for finding some regular show episodes that I consider to be relatively normal, I picked a few episodes from the show that I consider to be regular. And my scale for what I consider to be regular is how likely it would be for a normal person to experience it. So we would be focusing more on the general plot of the episode and some of the interaction between characters. And with that being said, let's get on with the video. If you feel like I've missed any episodes or there were some that I didn't mention, let me know in the comments below. The first episode we're going to be taking a look at in this video is Dawn, the episode that introduced us to Rigby's older brother. The episode is premised on the fact the park is going to be audited by the government, and therefore they need an accountant to help them pay. This brings Mordecai to the idea of bringing up Rigby's brother to help the park. Rigby is totally against this, and we are given a flashback to Rigby's 6th birthday party, where Dawn came upstairs after being told by Rigby to stay in the basement and steals the show at Rigby's party, albeit for the reason of giving him sugar. This gives us an overview on the type of relationship that existed between Rigby and his brother early on. Mordecai rings up Dawn, and he appears in a really nice open-top convertible car, and that's when we get the first surprising moment of Dawn, which is his physique. Cause man, the guy's like 6'5". He makes everybody feel at home with his top-class dapping. That is everybody except Rigby, who makes his very unreal feelings towards Dawn very clear. Dawn takes all of this in stride and does most of the job, and even has enough time to go and play some football with the guys. All the while, Rigby is isolating himself from the whole party. However, things take a turn from bad to worse when Rigby hurts Dawn's feelings and causes him to leave. As if this wasn't bad enough, Rigby tries to do the taxes by himself and ends up messing everything up and prematurely starting the audits. Things in the room and in the park in general start to disappear, so Mordecai and Rigby make the unlikely move of moving over to Dawn's place to try and get him to come back and fix the whole situation. And it is at this moment that we learn the truth about Rigby and his feelings towards Dawn. So Rigby lists a few things, including always feeling like he's in Dawn's shadow, and people always thinking Dawn is his older brother when he's the older one instead, as some of the reasons why he has bad feelings towards Dawn. Rigby makes it known that it's not because he hates him, but then it's because Dawn always steals the lights and always takes away all the attention from him. Dawn, who didn't know this and even looked up to Rigby as his cooler older brother, apologizes and claims that Rigby has always been his role model and he has always tried to copy him in everything that he does. This makes everybody happy and they make up, and Dawn returns to the park to do his much needed accounting, and after some much needed sugar from Rigby, he's able to fix the audit and save the park from disappearing into an abyss of nothingness. And the reason why I feel like this episode is pretty normal is because the events of it actually happen in real life. When you fail to pay taxes, even though the government doesn't cause your items to disappear in a cloud of numbers, they will come to your property and seize your assets. What is more normal or regular than conflicts between brothers, such as the one that was displayed between Rigby and Dawn? It is something that most people in relationships, especially families and siblings, experience throughout their lives. And there's nothing odd or weird about people being either jealous of each other or having some sort of envy towards each other, especially when one person appears to be doing better than the other in certain areas of their life. And because of that, this episode gets a spot on this list. The next episode that we're going to be talking about is Weekend at Benson's. In this episode, Mordecai and Rigby accidentally knock Benson unconscious after he was attempting to fix the lights, and after thinking of ideas, they plan to leave him at his apartment so that he doesn't remember any of this when he wakes up. They then go out of their way to avoid interactions with people such as Muscle Man and get him to his place. They put him in glasses and tape him to the couch and set off. However, those interactions that they tried to avoid before become a problem when Muscle Man tries to talk to Benson, and through hand gestures and nod, surprisingly, Mordecai and Rigby are able to pull it off, making Muscle Man believe that it was actually Benson that was communicating with him. Finally, they're able to make it to Benson's apartment, where they find out that Benson's neighbor had invited him to a party, and that was why Benson was in such a rush to go in the morning. Mordecai decides for them to go to the party, and they attempt to pull it off by making Benson believe that he partied so hard and therefore he passed out. And with this idea, I actually think is pretty unbelievable because Benson doesn't look like the type of guy who would party to this extent. And at first, things are actually going well, and Benson becomes the life of the party, while Mordecai and Rigby are still basically controlling him. Good things don't last, and when Audrey's ex-boyfriend starts messing with him, Mordecai takes extreme measures and uses Benson's hand to splash water all over him. This causes them to end up in the food eating contest, specifically looking at how much spice the other person can take. Benson starts killing it because he's unconscious. We reach the final piece of this food eating competition where there is an edible abomination that Audrey's boyfriend makes for Benson to consume. This is where the Mississippi Queen comes in, an amalgamation of food pieces so bad that Benson wakes up the moment he sniffs it in. Benson now awakens and ends up in the bathroom with Mordecai and Rigby, where naturally he's pissed at both of them because he doesn't know what they pulled him into. His tongue is on fire as he drinks water and tries to understand everything, but then once he hears cheers of his name coming from the outside, he decides to go ahead with the plan and drink the Mississippi Queen alongside Mordecai and Rigby. And that's where the very interesting trip begins. And this trip is so magical that it takes them right from the party all the way to the park. And at the park, everybody returns back to normal, albeit with some much deserved trouble in the intestines. Benson fired both of them on the spot, obviously tired of their dubious shenanigans. He looks down on a note of paper that's taped to him and finds out that his neighbor, Audrey, wrote her number on that paper. This makes Benson happy and he reinstates Mordecai and Rigby to work, and end the episode on a high note and bringing me to why I chose this episode to be in this video. It looks like a very unusual one from the surface, and it is. I'm not going to deny that. But in comparing it to other regular show episodes, you see that this is actually a tame one. Regular show has set the bar so high when it comes to their episodes that you will always have some level of weirdness in their episodes. However, with all things being considered equal, with the plot and the outcome of this episode, nothing out of the blue really happens. It was just a party that Mordecai and Rigby went to with Benson in glasses. And in the real world, you could actually or probably get away with this, and people would think that Benson probably has some sort of visual impairment. And if you were to do something like this at a Halloween party, I feel like you'd be able to get away with it. The experience with the Mississippi Queen is actually something that is plausible when the necessary edible substances have been consumed. Looking at the overview of this entire episode, I would say it's a pretty normal one by regular show standards, and definitely something that you could pull off in the real world if you put enough dedication into it. Finally, for the last episode of the video, we're going to be looking at the karaoke episode. And in this episode, Mordecai and Rigby go to a karaoke club where they end up trashing the members of the park during a song. They really went in on everyone, like I know everybody at the park would have definitely crashed out if they had seen it. Things start to go from bad to worse when, as a treat for everybody's hard work at the park, Benson wants to sponsor everybody for a night out at the same karaoke club. Mordecai and Rigby try everything in their power to prevent Benson and the rest from seeing that tape, but this doesn't work, and as a last resort, they try to sneak into the karaoke place to destroy the tapes, while everybody is sitting in the club waiting. The owner of the club then decides to play their tape to try and get the audience hyped up to do some karaoke, and the tape starts playing. But before any of the really terrible things that Mordecai and Rigby said could come out, they sneak into the control room and eject the tape from the karaoke video player. And this is where the episode starts to get interesting. Pop starts his performance of the song Footloose by Kenny Loggins, and the whole brawl starts, courtesy of Mordecai and the bouncer, and then skips joints inside and ramps everything up to 100. Everybody gets involved in the fights, with Pops providing a very smooth soundtrack until finally, Benson brings everything to an end by smashing the tape against the owner's own face. At that time, Pops finishes his performance, the police and some ambulances are called, and everybody leaves with the exception of Mordecai and Rigby standing at the club in disappointment. This episode is basically a bar brawl that happens over a mixtape. Fights at bars are a pretty normal thing. Fights at karaoke place, well, that's another issue altogether. But we can make the assumption based on the fact that there were no kids or even teenagers, that this place is for just grown people or adults. It looks like an adult place, and it also serves drinks with probably alcohol in them. And this whirlwind of factors is definitely a formula for aggression and fights as well. It's fair to say that Karaoke Night would take the last spot on this video for regular show episodes that are pretty regular. And this brings us to the end of the video as well. Leave me with a like and comment down below whether you enjoyed this video and any other episodes that could have made an appearance that I might have missed out on. You can click over here to watch a video on the worst crash outs in regular show, or you can click over here to watch a video on why Muscle Dad deserves much better. Thank you so much for coming in to watch this video. I'll see you guys next time. Tune out.